Hey, Chick-fil-A South Roads team, thank you for joining me on another leadership series. Today, I want to talk to you about the idea of navigating career growth. When you think about your growth and development within the business, everybody usually at some point wants to get that next opportunity. They want to have that opportunity to get a promotion. Maybe it's because they want to earn a higher income. Maybe it is because they want some more responsibilities or more influence within the business. But at some point, you're going to get to that point where you don't want to keep doing the same thing and you want an opportunity to grow and develop. Now, most of the time when people get to that point, they often think that promotions should be directly tied to performance. And it seems like logical. If I'm a great worker and I'm performing well in the business, then maybe I should get that promotion. But when you think about high performance organizations, the reality is that there are multiple people who are performing at a high level. And sometimes your performance isn't enough alone to get that promotion. And so today I want to present you a pie, if you will, an acronym for PIE, that I think if you can follow these pieces of the pie, that you can set yourself up for the best opportunities to grow in your career and get the opportunities that you might be seeking out. So let's talk about the first piece of the pie, and that is P, and that stands for performance. So just as we mentioned earlier, performance isn't the only piece of the pie, but it's an important piece of the pie. I would argue that it is even the foundational piece of the pie. As a individual in the organization, you have to be performing at a high level first and foremost. If you aren't doing your role and meeting your objectives, exceeding your objectives, then you're not going to give yourself the opportunity to even be considered. So first and foremost, you have to be performing well, going above and beyond. I would say be proactive in your role. Don't just wait for things to come to you, but be proactive in seeking out responsibilities and seeking out things to help you in your performance. Become a master of what you're focused on in the business. Be the subject matter expert on an area of the business that people have to come to you and say, hey, I know you're really good at the data of the business, or I know you're really good at this operational aspect of the business, or I know you're really good at how you coach and develop others. When you begin to be somebody who's performing at such a high level that people are seeking you out and you're training and developing others, you're beginning to lead and to perform at a level that will really be competitive against other people in a high performance organization. But as I said, performance may not be enough because a lot of people are performing. And so the second piece of the pie that I want you to focus on is the I. It's your image, right? This is, at the end of the day, how do people perceive you? It is your personal brand. Just like you think about Chick-fil-A has a brand of being known for customer service, or being known for caring about others, or being known as a place that is fast and has great quality food, right? All these things we have built up over the years of consistently delivering upon a perception or a brand of who we are. And personally, you have a brand as well. It is things that people judge off of things like your attitude, right? Do you have a positive attitude, or do you have a negative attitude? Do you have an attitude where you look for the good in others, that you are constantly thinking about all the great things that are happening within an organization and you're highlighting those things? Or do you have an attitude where you think about things negatively? You're always looking at the bad in a situation. You're always not motivating but discouraging other people in the way that you act, right? There's this attitude that people can perceive about you. It could be things like your work ethic, right? So do you come to work? Are you a hard worker when you're here? Do you seek opportunities to help others, to encourage others, to motivate others? Are you on time for your shifts, right? Or are you somebody who doesn't work as hard? You give the minimal. You don't help others out. You just focus on yourself. Maybe you're late to work. Maybe it's a perception of, like, are you engaged on the team? Are you a team player? Do you come to team outings and team events? All these things are things that people notice about you and become part of your image. It could even be as simple as your appearance. At the end of the day, sometimes it can be as simple, even if it seems superficial, it could be the way that you present yourself from an appearance, right? Do you tuck in your shirt when you when you come to work, right? Are your clothes clean? Are you well groomed, right? Do you get haircuts? Do you shave if you're a male? Are you presenting yourself in a way that people can see that you're a great brand representative and can see you in the role that you want to be in? A lot of times I say, don't dress for the role that you're in, dress in the role that you want to be in, right? And so think about the way that you present yourself. Are you a brand representative? Remember, at the end of the day, the saying is pretty true that perception is reality, right? The way that people perceive you is the reality of how they're going to think about you. Whether it's good or right or wrong, their perception is the reality to them. And so we want to make sure that we give a good personal brand, a good brand image for ourselves as we are considering growth and navigating career growth opportunities. The final piece of the pie I want to talk about is E, and that stands for exposure. This really means who knows about you at the end of the day. When you think about decisions for promotions and for opportunities within a business, decisions are not made in isolation. When you're being considered for a promotion or for future opportunities, usually that is done with a group of individuals and influencer makers in a room. And so at the end of the day, you do not want them to be spending valuable time trying to explain to others who you are and what you've done in the business, right? We can say, we want everybody to go in and say like, hey, we know Johnny, we know what Johnny's done. Everybody around the table is excited about Johnny, and we don't have to spend a lot of time explaining who Johnny is. If you don't have great exposure, then what happens in those meetings is somebody may be very high about you and say, hey, we think Johnny should be up for a promotion. But then all of a sudden other people in the room may say, well, you know what? I don't know Johnny. I haven't seen Johnny work. I don't know if he would be great for a promotion, right? So when you have great exposure in those moments where the decisions are happening, it builds a lot of momentum so people can begin to get excited about you and the opportunities that you might have. And exposure is one of those things that you have to be very intentional about building exposure. Maybe it's things that you have to be intentional about spending time with people who might be influence makers. Maybe it's asking them if they want to go grab some coffee, or maybe grabbing a meal with them during your break time, right? Maybe it's being intentional about going to them and sharing with them the things that you're doing within the business. Maybe it's intentional going and sharing with them the things that you're influencing within the business, right? You got to be very proactive in building your exposure so that people know what you're doing, so when the time comes that they're ready to advocate for you. So again, I believe that everybody can navigate career growth and set themselves up for future success. Again, what you have to do is you have to focus on the three pieces of the pie. You have to have high performance, you have to make sure that you have a great brand image, and you have to make sure that you have exposure in the business. If you can do those three things together, I believe that you can navigate a great career path here at Chick-fil-A and beyond. So thank you for leaning into your growth and development here at Chick-fil-A. We hope that using these three pieces of pie that you will excel here and beyond Chick-fil-A.